What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Just Be Wise, and I read your comments. I heard what you're saying, so I've been working on it. I'm finally done in the midst of doing some other stuff. This is the updated upload of the DaVinci Resolve tutorial. I lowered the music down a lot. I almost just completely took it out, so the music is not going to be an issue. Also, I went ahead and updated some of the graphics on the screen so that you guys can follow me along easier. And the last thing I did was go ahead and give you guys some timestamps here. So you can go ahead, if you've already done some of this before, or you just want to learn about something very specific, you can just jump ahead. And without further ado, let's get into it.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Just Be Wise, and today we're gonna do another tutorial. Today we're going to take advantage of free. Yes. So there's editing softwares out there, and most people know about the two big ones, which is Premiere Pro, and if you're an Apple person, Final Cut Pro. So if you don't want to pay for an video editing app, there are alternatives for you. Some of those not so great, but what I found recently is DaVinci Resolve is actually pretty darn good. So we're gonna dive into DaVinci Resolve today. So if you want to start editing videos and you don't want to pay for Premiere, or you don't have Apple to get Final Cut or whatever, this is a viable option for you. And I just want to run through the basics of how to use this editing software so that you can kind of get your feet wet and hop right in. I've have a good amount of my friends who want to start editing videos and they don't want to buy Premiere. So here's an alternative for you. Let's do it. Okay, so first thing first is, where do you go to get DaVinci Resolve? First thing you gotta do is hop on the interwebs. Once you get online, type in DaVinci Resolve. Bam. First thing pops up, DaVinci Resolve 16 Blackmagic design. Go ahead and click that, take you to their webpage. This is all super simple so far. Most of you guys probably already know how to do this much. Now, you're gonna go ahead and click on the download link. Make sure not to download the studio version. The studio version you actually have to pay for. It gives you a little bit more glitz and glamour. You don't need all that. We worried about the free right now. We want free stuff. So you're not gonna do all that. Whether you have Mac, Windows, or Linux, you can go ahead and take advantage. So once you download that, you can go ahead and install. I'm not gonna teach you how to install. It does everything for you, so you don't really need, I'm not here to teach you that. I'm teaching you how to use the program, not how to completely put it on your computer. That you can work that out. I believe in you. Okay. So once you have it, download it, and you open up your thing, the first window you're gonna get is something similar to this. I actually think there's like a little tutorial thing in there that you can see. I don't remember exactly, but it'll open you up to this window where you have your previous projects. So right now, we're actually gonna go through the whole thing as if we've never used it before. So we're gonna do new project. Bam. This new project is gonna be called DR Toot. Toot, 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 toot. Now we are in DaVinci Resolve's program, okay? Now, the first thing I would advise you do before you do anything else is go ahead and set up your project settings. We're gonna go ahead, go to File, Project Settings. So we're in the master settings. Mine is already set up. It's at resolution 1080 and timeline frame rate 24. Boom, bam, bip, done. Nothing else needs to be done here. Done. Click. Well, for you, you would click save. However, if you need to change this, just click on the drop downs. Boom, it gives you a bunch of options for you to change it to whatever you need to change it to. All right, now we're ready to actually do some work. So let's draw our attention down to the different workspaces here that we have. We're only gonna go over 4 of the different workspaces that they have, and we're gonna show you those right now really quickly. We have Media, Cut, Edit, and Deliver. So let's go back to Media and start off there. In the media pool, you can do this a couple of different ways. One, you can search for everything within the program itself. Like here, If you look up here, it has my different drives, so I can go through and search to find what I want to pull, or you can just drag and drop if you already have your stuff on your desktop or whatever. So one thing I do want to show you though, if you have a specific folder and you have it set up a certain way, like I have my project set up where my media goes into this folder and it's all broken down very specifically, right? So now if I want to drag and drop and pull my media in, what I don't want to do is drag and drop and put it right here. If I bring and pull it right here, oh, this is a great time for me to explain this. Anytime you bring in footage, if it doesn't perfectly match with your sequence, like let's say I shoot at 24 frames per second. My baby ain't playing no games. I shoot most of my videos at 24 frames per second, but if I want to shoot something in slow motion, I'll shoot it at 60 frames per second and then slow it down to 24. If this sees that I have something at 60 frames a second, it wants to convert my timeline to that. And I don't want that. I want it to stay what I have already. So make sure you pick don't change. You probably never want to change this. So when it's telling you to, because you can shoot in different formats. But so right now I'm just going to hit don't change. And as you can see right now, because I dropped it right into the media pool, my folders and the way I structured everything is lost. So this is not something I want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just Control Z is undo. I'm going to bring this folder and bring it down here on the side. Again, we want to hit don't change. Now that I've brought this on the side, you can see my different folders. So you go back to media and now all my folders are here. No idea why footage is coming after music. But it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Anyway, you can clearly see now it keeps your folder structure so you can go and find everything very simply and easily when you're doing your full edit. All right, so now we're moving on to the cut window. So first thing first, what you'll notice in majority of the windows here, up in the top right hand corner, this is your left hand corner. Up in the top left hand corner, you'll see you can click here and it's going to change your windows, right? So here as the media pool, it could be the transition. Maybe I want to add text, or maybe I want to add a specific effect. So you can change and manipulate your workspace very simply. This is something I think is pretty cool, that it has quick ways to adjust your workspace for you very quickly. So as for right now though, we're just going to leave it for media. Next timeline right here, or the thing that's under this space, we're going to move down slightly and it's going to resemble your timeline. This timeline here is the full timeline of your whole project. So let me drag some footage on here so I can kind of explain the difference. All right, so now you can see this is the full timeline of my whole project. So here you can see there's still more to be revealed from the timeline, right? Okay, so now this is where you're gonna do all of your edits. This is just showing you what your full timeline looks like. Now, obviously here is a preview window so you can see your clips, okay? So we're gonna take this clip off for right now. I just wanna show you something really quickly. So let's say I'm previewing this clip right here. I'm looking at this clip. Let's say all of this I don't like, but I like right here where the FedEx truck is coming by and I kind of pan up a little bit, right? That's all I want to use for this clip. So while you're previewing your clip, this is something that you can do. You're gonna look through, right here is what I like. You press I, and this is now where your clip is gonna start. Spacebar to start the clip a little more. It's panning up. I'm gonna press O because I think right here is the best of it. I press O and that ends the clip. So now if you look back over here at your clip and it does a little preview as you drag over, it has a line here and a line here. This is the start and this is the end. So if I go ahead and bring this down to my timeline, it only inputs what's within that section. So this is a good way if you kind of know, like right now, we're just gonna chop up some of these clips and then put them together in like a little B-roll sequence. This is a good way to kind of do that before you actually go into the full edit. that's kind of what I would use this cut workspace for. Other than that, I would just go straight to the edit workspace to do most of your, where you're gonna do most of your work. But right now, at least you know here in the cut space, this is some of the good things that you can do. So let's do another one. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward through. I'm gonna do a bunch of these, just kind of find what I wanna take out, and then we're gonna add some more clips to the timeline together. Give me 1 second. Okay, so now that I have all my B-roll cut, what I would like to do now at this point is I'm actually gonna take this clip off, because I was just showing you guys this for example. I have this clip here that's like a vlog, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop this clip down here. Okay, so now the vlog clip is down here. I wanna actually put the rest of these clips, I'm just gonna click there, hold shift, click here, so select all the clips, and I'm gonna put all these clips right here. Now we're looking at something that's very different than what we saw before. We knew we had our clips that go next to each other. Now there's a whole new layer of clips. And the way this program works is everything that's on the top layer is seen first. So it's almost like looking at a top-down view of your footage. So as you can see right now, we're looking at the vlog footage, which is on the bottom. But once the cursor passes over, it changes to the B-roll footage because the B-roll footage is on top. Okay, so now if we move this B-roll footage and separate it, so now there's a space in between, you're gonna notice B-roll footage goes back to vlog and then back to B-roll again. So whatever is on the top, the topmost layer, whatever is on the top layer is what's gonna show. That's what your viewers are gonna be able to see, okay? All right, I feel like that makes enough sense, right? I hope that makes sense. Hope everything is understandable thus far. All right, let me show you a couple other things we can do in this workspace before we move over to the editing workspace where we're actually gonna do the bulk of our work. So one of the other things that you can do really quickly is you can add a dissolve or a crossfade. So what you wanna do, bring your cursor to where you wanna add your crossfade, boom. Crossfade's added, adds a nice little effect there. So now if we go to the end here, see it's just a nice little fade transition into the next clip. Boom, bam, bap. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and move from here and we're gonna take a little move over to the edit workspace. All right guys, we're progressing along pretty nicely here. So in the edit workspace has a lot going on. I know. Not as complicated as it looks. It's fairly simple. We're gonna take this step by step. We're gonna start again in the top left-hand corner. So you see here, you have your media pool. So we know this is where you can get all of your assets for your footage, right? Now if we change that, it'll go to the effects library. It has it right here. Or you can just take the media pool off and it'll add it up here. So typically you're gonna want your media pool. So if you have any other assets you need to pull, you always want that up. If I were you, this would be mainly how my window is always set. So I have my effects ready to go and I have my assets ready to go, right? The next thing is the edit index. This keeps a log of all the different edits that you've made. So you can always go back to whenever. I will probably never use this. And sound library, if you have a library of sounds, you can actually just add that into here. I'm not gonna do that either because everything I need is gonna be right here. Okay, now if we go to this for the first time, on the right hand side can change up some stuff as well. So now right here you can see your audio mixer. You can have that on or off. I advise keep your audio mixer on so you can check your levels, because right now we're going to do a quick check. As you can see right here, some of them are kind of loud, some of the sounds kind of loud. To be honest, if I was actually editing this, a lot of this stuff would be muted right now. But you want to keep this on so you can always check your audio levels. Next we have, it can show you metadata for each clip. So let's say I didn't remember how I shot this clip, or I wanted to do some editing to make this slow motion, but it wasn't shot in 60 frames per second, so I can't. This is somewhere you can go to check and see if it was shot in slow motion, if it was shot in a different way for you to manipulate it, or how it was shot or whatever. This just gives you the metadata for the clip. I don't think that's information that you need. However, I would add the inspector tab at times. So in case you want to do any specific changes, like let's say I want to zoom into this area here, you can actually just whoop, boom, you can zoom in. It has your different effects that you can make all throughout here. So there's a lot of things that you can do, right? But again, that's something that you don't have to have up all the time. I think it's probably more beneficial to have your preview window up of whatever clip you may be adding, and your main timeline window up so you can actually see how your full video looks. But that's just me, personal preference. You can do as you please, of course. Okay, so let's edit our footage a little bit thus far. So right now, what I would like to do is have some B-roll come over the top first, and then the B-roll will transition into me saying, hey guys, or whatever my intro is. So let's actually see here. We're gonna mute or disable the top layer so I can see what the bottom layer is doing. So you see, you click this little film button right here and it'll disable this top layer so I can see what's going on. And this is where we're gonna stop it, right there. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It is freezing in Detroit. Boom. This is gonna be the end of our video. So to remind me of this later, I can go ahead and mark this moment. So I can just hit M on the keyboard and it's gonna make a marker here. So now what I actually wanna do, I don't need to worry about this. I know I'm gonna end it. If you do a quick key and you hit B, B is gonna change your tool here to a blade. And I can just go ahead and cut this clip, boom, change it back to A. It's gonna change back to your cursor. Select this, hit delete, boom, it's gone, okay? So now I can go ahead and slide this back because we're gonna end it back here. And what we're gonna do is at the end here, we're gonna add a cross dissolve right here, okay? So we're gonna go to our effects area over here, video transition, cross dissolve, click and hold, drag it over here, click. Have to remember to take this off so we can actually see what's going on here. Bam, look at that, beautiful transition. Okay, full disclosure, I lost track of time. This stopped recording, so you may have lost me there. We're gonna render now. That's where I left off, whether I did or didn't. Okay, so now we're gonna render, and here it actually has a couple of different things that are kind of cool. But before we go into the cool things, typically the way I render something out is I do H.264. Put your file name. We're gonna call this Test Sting DaVinci. Okay, file location, I'm just gonna save it right now to my desktop. That's fine. Save, boom, bam, bip. And now we're gonna render out a single clip. We're not rendering out a bunch of individual clips. We're gonna render out our whole timeline for the most part. Let me actually come down here, see if I can zoom in a little bit. All right. The format I like to use MP4. Again, H.264. Don't really need to change any of this. And I can just add this to my render queue. Add to your render queue and start rendering. Boom. So while it's rendering, if I get back in focus here, while it's rendering, you're just gonna go ahead and scrub through your timeline, and soon you'll have your whole complete video. Bam, bam, boom, finito.
Well, I just want to thank you guys again for watching the video. Hopefully this was better than last time, and also hopefully you learned something. So if you did, please like the video. And if you think somebody else could get some help out of it, go ahead and share it. Comment below if you have any other things you guys want to talk about in regards to DaVinci Resolve. Sub, I guess, or something. I don't know. I'm not good at this YouTube thing, but what I am good at is giving you guys some tools to create. Now go be great. Peace.